Well, and finally, a new set of cabinet secretaries has taken office today in the just concluded oath-taking exercise that has been witnessed by President William Ruto and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua there at State House. The 24 nominees have just taken oath of office, of course, confirming their allegiance to the Constitution and vowing to protect and respect the Constitution. But this is just a standard oath that they are supposed to take as enshrined in the Constitution. If you allow me, I can take you through what they have just said. I, being appointed Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear solemnly affirm that I will at all time be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect and uphold this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, that I will well and truly serve the people and the Republic of Kenya, that I undertake to hold my office as Cabinet Secretary with honor and dignity, that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya, that I will not divulge directly or indirectly such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties, and committed to my secrecy except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as Cabinet Secretary, and that I will perform the functions of my office conscientiously, oh Lord, that's a big word there, and to the best of my ability in the case of an oath, so help me God. Those are the words. Well, they have just taken. And of course, what is happening now is the photo opportunity featuring the cabinet secretaries plus the families, and of course, with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and of course, President William Ruto in attendance. That is an event that has taken about 1.5 hours. And remember, we're still here in studio having our conversations. And now joining me is Mr. Job Wanjohi. He's the head of research and policy advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And knowing too well that they have really been working with the government to try and upscale the industrialization agenda in the country. He's here to give us an overview of what he has actually witnessed and what is the way forward and what awaits the new cabinet. Thank you very much indeed, Wanjohi, for joining us here.
Thank you,
so what is the #1 assignment for the new cabinet secretaries?
One major assignment for the new cabinet secretaries is looking at Kenya Kwanza manifesto. It's going to be their policy document for the next 5 years, because it's that document that the president and his technical team crafted and said that this is what we're going to do to the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
From digital superhighway to creative economy to manufacturing to affordable housing and many others. This is a document that they're going to have as the first one. And when you look at that document, you can see it's a document that is trying to be quite inclusive as far as Kenya as a country is concerned. You find that the call in it, if I talk specifically around manufacturing and around the industrial agenda, because there is a heavy chapter that is covering that, you see they are depending on the low-hanging fruits as far as the sectors are concerned. When we're talking about the leather sector in the country, every home in this country, you'll find it has an animal that carries a hide or a skin. It's a question of now ensuring that whatever we have in our households, in terms of animals, cows, goats, and many others, we are not throwing away that hide and skin, but we are pulling the skin and the hides together so that they can be taken to tanneries. And from tanneries, then we can have the wet blue being made by the tanneries, and then we have the finished products out of leather. But if you look at what is happening at the moment, you find that that's a sector that is employing about 14,000 people, yet it has a capacity of employing about 100,000 people or to 150. If you look at also the mats that you are losing in terms of the foreign earning. 30 years ago, it's a sector that was a foreign income earner to us, but now it is consuming the foreign income that we have obtained, because more or less we are net importers as far as the leather products are concerned. So that's what they're going to really concentrate on.
And I like the fact that you're bringing that issue, because I remember last week you were hosting the president during one of your events meant to accelerate industrialization.
Yes.
Dubbed 20 by 30.
Yes. Which
basically means that the Kenya Association of Manufacturing or Corporate Kenya wants to push the contribution of manufacturing to GDP to about 20% by the year 2030. And the president really talked about some of the projects that he intends to initiate, and one of them is the industrial leather park that has been under construction at Kimani in, is it Machakos or Athi River?
Yeah.
One of the two. So as a lobby group that is very keen on seeing industrialization levels, increase in this country, how do you plan to engage with the Minister for Trade and Investment to ensure that that leather park is actualized?
Indeed, if you look at that leather park, it's a major installation. When we talk about Kimani leather park, it's a major installation. In fact, it is one that can really change the face of the country as far as the leather processing and leather product making the country is concerned. One way the government is going to do is to ensure that there is finalization of the construction of that leather park. We have effluent treatment plant because leather industry is one of the major pollutants. Without looking at how there can be environmental conservation, it can be a major pollutant. So we have effluent treatment plant that has to be finalized. In that leather park, it is not only about processing the leather, the hide and skin. There is even some areas that have been set aside whereby we have the finalization or making the final product out of leather. So where is now the synergy creation between us and the government? And there's a discussion already we have started even with the incoming Minister for Trade, to Trade and Industries. Is a question of ensuring that we have new investors that are coming to the country, and that's now the role of the private sector. But also the government has to ensure that it is creating conducive business environment. One way that we have to create a conducive business environment is to ensure that the tanneries that are going to be set in Kimani Leather Park, they have adequate raw material rather than the smuggling that is happening at the moment. We have export levy that has been put of 80%, but you find now and then we have smuggling of the raw hide and skin from the country that is denying the hungry factories of the much needed raw material in terms of hide and skin. So the government has to ensure that we have enough raw hide and skin in the country by putting all the enforcement mechanism, by also ensuring that we have they call what? The extension services at the agricultural level in collaboration with the county governments, ensuring that we have a very quality leather that is coming from our goats and our sheep, from our abattoirs and the slaughterhouses. So it's a concerted effort between the private sector and the government, and I believe with the commitment from both the stakeholders, we are going to see an uptick on this.
And also one of the issues that was raised by the president at that time was the issue of our exports, and he briefly talked about, for example, tea, whereby we export almost 90% of our tea, and it is exported in raw form. Then the value addition is done elsewhere, and then it is packaged and sold in Western supermarkets. How do you expect this to happen, and how do you plan to engage with the government to ensure that the issue of value addition is upscaled?
Where we operate our industries at or from currently is from pre-colonial eras. The way even the policies were set out, that Africa and specifically Kenya is a source of raw materials to be value added in a foreign country. And this is something that we need to reverse, ensure, like now you've given a very good example of tea. 97% of Kenyan tea is exported in bulk. in raw, not processed. But the government, through commitment that has been given by President Ruto about 2 weeks ago, when we were launching the first consignment that was going to Ghana and the African Continental Free Trade Area, is that we are going to get 50%. A good question that you have asked: how do we arrive at 50%? One, if you look at the international system, we have the policy capture, whereby if we said processed tea outside the country to Europe, to Asians, you find there is a resistance. They want to get our raw tea so that they can value add in the countries, and in the process, one, they can get more foreign earning, they can create investments, they can have more jobs that are created on their side. So you find there is that resistance. So one of the most important things is to ensure that there is diversification of the market. We are not only depending on the traditional markets of the Europes and the Asians. Like now, Africa is a major market, and that's the reason why you saw recently there was a consignment that went to Ghana. Instead of Ghana getting the tea from Europe that came from Kenya, they are now getting directly from us. So one major thing is to ensure that we are right as far as the market is concerned. The other thing is we must have investment that are being driven into the country because between the factories, the tea factories, and whereby now you are packaging the tea itself, there are various investments that need to come along that supply chain and along that value chain. So investment opportunities, investment climate to be conducive for those who want to invest in that area. And again, we're talking even of the small household farmers. How can we have aggregation center? How can we have contract production of a packaged tea that is coming from these farms direct to the shops?
The other issue that, of course, we expect, and more so the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, this is Mithika Linturi, now to pick up, is of course the raging drought and the ongoing food insecurity in the country. What do you expect to be the first starting point?
The first starting point is that there is climate change in the country. You realize that the weather patterns are not the way that even the climate is not the way as it was before. Today we are experiencing rains in the month of September, or even in the month of January, yet the rains were between March and May and probably October and November. So due to that change of the weather or the climate, there is need to get to mechanized farming. Whereby we are not depending too much on rainfall. We are depending on our lakes. We are depending on our ocean. We are depending on when there is heavy rainfall. There is the various water catchment areas that have been created, so that we can have enough water even when we have a drought like the one that is ravaging the country. Imagine where we have the drought, we have lakes in those areas. So because we have not mechanized, that's the reason why we cannot continue farming. So one of the major priority for Honorable Mithika Linturi is to ensure that we have mechanized farming even at the small-scale farmers level. So that at the third 12 months all across the whole year, there's farming that is taking place.
And also something else that we expect to see that the President has talked about is the construction of 100 dams. And so you'd expect that of course, now we are yet to understand which ministry is going to undertake this, because now you have the Ministry of Water, you also have now the Ministry of Agriculture, and it cuts across. So there is no time for the Cabinet Secretary for Water, this is Alice Wahome now, to rest. I mean, it is time to hit the ground running and ensure that communities are supplied with water, water pans are created, and of course the dams are constructed.
Yes. In fact, how I would look at it is that it's one government. Ministers don't have to start jostling for power. Who is going to do this, who is going to do that? They are all serving one Kenya, they are all serving one community. So they need from the onset, and probably even from a presidential directive, whereby the Ministry of Water or the Ministry of Agriculture has been directed that we need these dams. And then you have to look at the specialization. It is a Ministry of Water that is specialized in terms of coming up with these dams. That road would rather be given to them so that we can see speed and on the execution of the same.
And of course the other thing that we expect to see, and this is really going to touch on the Minister for Trade and Industrialization, and the President just the other day when you were having this meeting with him, he talked about deepening our intra-Africa trade. And he cited an example whereby, was it last month or early this month, where Kenya shipped the first consignment of goods to Ghana. What other low-hanging fruit do you expect us to pick from the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement?
One thing that we are doing at the moment is to showcase what are the competencies in production for Kenya. And next week, from a Monday to Friday, we are showcasing what is locally manufactured. So we have a lot of competence as far as this is. So we have what is called Chagamka. It will be at KACC, and everybody from the country can come and see what is being manufactured in the country. That's the starting point, whereby out of that, this is what we can be able now to set across the whole of Africa. We are talking of, we have talked about the tea, we're talking about coffee, we're talking of even some automotive parts. We're talking of chemicals. We're talking of food and beverages.
All is made in Kenya.
All is made in Kenya. We have about 10 or 15,000 products that are going to be showcased in KCC next week.
And now this festival.
And that's now what we are going to unleash to the African market through African Continental Free Trade Area. And Kenya is one of the pilot countries that have been that have been selected. They can take their goods to Egypt. They can take their goods to South Africa, to Ghana, and it's good that as a country, first of all, we appreciate our capabilities through what we shall be showcasing that time, and then we ensure that along the supply chain and the distribution chain, people are taking advantage of what is locally manufactured to take across Africa.
And now, I mean, the swearing in of the cabinet secretary is now, completes the cycle of the new administration, setting up its processes and its procedures. So it is now time to deliver to Kenyans without now any other excuse. In the next 100 days of this cabinet, what do you expect to see?
What I expect to see is we have tropical issues as a country that we are handling. One is like the drought. We must see the government being committed in alleviating those who are hunger stricken by ensuring that there's food security on that area. In terms of industrial agenda, we are looking at how the government can drive the competitiveness of the manufacturing sector, looking at the taxation regime, looking at the illicit trade that normally happens in the country, or even when you're talking about the cost of energy. We had the 15% reduction. In fact, right now the cost of energy has become very expensive. So there is a set of activities and policies that they need to undertake in the next 100 days to ensure that one thing they're keeping to the promise that they gave during the general elections.
And it's good that you brought in the issue of the cost of energy. And in December last year, we saw a 15% reduction in the cost of energy. But now the prices are almost going back to where they were. The former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, had promised another 15% cut in January this year. Of course, it's never happened. And I'm sure you're going to have a conversation with the new energy minister, who is, of course, not new. He was there before. That is David Chirchir. What do you expect to tell him?
One is that if you look at the components that are in the bill for power, one major component is taxation. We need to review the taxation that is put on power. The other thing is the forex. Because of the depreciation of shilling, it has also an effect as far as the cost of power is concerned. And the third thing, of course, is when we are talking about the thermal power production through through generators. So there's utilization of diesel, and you can imagine now diesel is at 165 from a low of 80. So those are the factors that have cancelled off the 15% power reduction that we saw in December. And that's the reason why now we are over and above what has been provided to us. So one thing that we are going to have or discuss with the Honorable David Chirchir is how can we see the reduction on the cost of power from where it is between 0.16 and 0.18 to around 0.09, so that they can make the industries competitive, and also our households, including my own home. We are not really paying a lot of money to support the electricity that is used in our households.
What is your message to the cabinet as now it takes sit down to work for Kenyans?
One thing is that now they don't have an excuse. They have the resources. As citizens, we are paying taxes that are required, so that means they have the resources. They have the full support or the full backing from the president. They have been given a blank sheet to start off with the new government. So they need to hit the road running and ensure that the GDP is going to grow at 10% plus, according to the Vision 2030. Ensure that the manufacturing sector contribution to the GDP is 20% by 2030. But the agriculture sector, probably the GDP contribution is going to be 40 plus, because at the moment it's starting at that 4%, and ensure there's vibrancy in the agro-processing, in the automotive sector, in the security of the country, and many others.
Very well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Wanjohi, for finding time to be with us, of course, this afternoon.
Yeah.
Your input is highly appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and of course to the cabinet secretaries who have just taken oath of office, Kenyans are waiting. There is no time. It is time to hit the ground running, to serve the nation, to serve Kenyans. The economy needs to grow, among many other things. The security needs to be enhanced. Food security is an issue. At the end of the day, you're going to be judged by what you are going to deliver. Well, you have been watching us live from Broadcasting House, and of course the cabinet has just taken oath of office to serve Kenyans. My name is O'Brien Kimani. What you're seeing on your screen is the photo session that is taking place there. Remember, the 24 cabinet secretaries have just taken oath of office. Now they're having photo opportunities with the president and the deputy president before they settle down and serve Kenyans. As I am saying, there is no time to rest. The work ahead is so much. We are waiting for economic growth that will hit the 10% mark by the year 2030. We expect our hospitals to be modern, to be upgraded, and to have medicines. We expect our schools to be modern, to have teachers and the necessary equipment that are needed to run hospitals. We expect our roads to be smooth. And of course, our ports to be operational, our railway lines to be operational as well. That is O'Brien Kimani for you. Thank you for your time. I'm now taking you over to the other side of the studio where Ben Troy Njoe is on standby with the lunchtime news. Otherwise, thank you from me and the rest of the team. Have a good afternoon.